Welcome to Classmates. So today's class we're going to be looking at how to count the measuring tape or the tape measure, whichever one you call it. So here I have the tape with me and a piece of paper in case we need to calculate some things. So one thing we need to know is that the length of the tape is usually 60 inches, 120 inches, and for those that measure something longer, we can have more than 120 inches. But for tailors, we have 60, 120. Okay, so the inches here is 1 inch, and then towards the end of the here we have 60 inches. Now the tape is not only made up of inches, we have two sides, two very important sides. We have both the inches and the centimeter. Okay, when you see a sign like this is known as the inches, and we have the cm as the centimeter. Okay, now the inches is also known as the imperial, while the centimeter is known as the metrics. Okay, so wherever or whatever you see and wherever you see and you have something like imperial and you have this sign, just know that it's talking about inches. And when you have cm, you have metrics, just know that it's talking about centimeter. Okay, so we're going to be looking at this, getting the centimeter. If you're not so familiar with it and you're familiar with the inches, it's not going to be difficult. I'll show us how to go about it. Now, our major concern is the small lines in between an inch. We know what inches mean. We know what 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches, at least, even if you're a beginner, you know that. But the small lines in between is where our concentration is. How do we get the numbers that are in between? How are they identified? What are they called? How did we arrive at them? Okay. So from here, I'm going to be placing this like this. And this line here is 0. Okay, this is already one we know. Now from 0 to here we have 8 lines, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the whole number, which is 8, making 1 inch. Okay, this is it. We have this, and then we have this 8 lines. All right, now because we have 8 lines, we're going to have something like 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. So 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8, which is 1 inch. Okay, what I just identified are these lines that we have here, because it is 8 in numbers. So we count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and we divide each of them by 8. Okay, so this is not a magic. Now the 8th number is the last one, which is the whole number, 1 inch. So how do we identify order of these numbers here? 1 inch divided by 2 will give us 0.5, right? Or half an inch. Now, which one is the half an inch? We are going to find the midpoint of 1 inch. So coming from here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And coming from this other side, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the midpoint, half of an inch. And where do we have it? It is this. So here we have 0.5, right? 0.5 in centimeter, and then we can have it in fraction as 1/2. Sorry, we have it as 1/2, which is half of an inch. Okay, either 0.5 or 1/2. According to mathematics, it is not a personal issue. All right, so now we've found the name of this, which is half of an inch. We want to identify other ones. Now coming from half to here, where do we find a mid number? From this half here, we have 1, 2. Coming from the other side, we have 1, 2. So this other line after the first one becomes the midpoint between 1 and 4, which is this. So 1.5 or 1/2 of an inch divided by 2, which is this, is going to give us 0.25. Now 0.25, we have it as 1/4. Now how do we arrive at 1/4? 2 divided by 2 will give us 1. 2 divided by 8 will give us 4. So we have 1/4 of an inch. So whenever you're taking your measurement and it falls on here, just know that you have 1/4 of an inch around here. You don't need to approximate. You don't need to go below. Okay. Now we also have from here to the 1 inch. Where do we find the midpoint? From here we count 1, 2, and here we count 1, 2. So this is another midpoint after the 1/2 of an inch. All right. So how do we identify this also? This can be divided. So 2 divided by 6, we have 3. 2 divided by 8, we have 4. So we have 3/4. All right. So further, we can have 3/4 as 0.75 in decimal. So all the numbers that can be divided, 8 divided by 8, we have 1. That is how we have 1 inch. So 8 can be divided, 8 can be divided, 8 can be divided in fraction. But 1/8, 3/8, 5/8, 7/8 cannot be divided. So we're going to look up to them in decimal, and we're going to be adding and subtracting to get the numbers. Okay, so this is 0.25. 0.25 divided by 2, we are going to have 0.125. 0.125. Okay, because 1/8 cannot be divided, we'll have them in decimal. Now the next number we have is 3/8. How do we get that? Now add 0.25 to 0.125. We're going to have 0.375. Okay, now what you need to know is that each line here has become 0.125. One line here is 0.125. Two lines here has become 0.25. Three lines here has become 0.375. So all we are going to do is now try it. When you add 0.375 to 0.125, which is one line, this here plus this, you're not adding the second one. This is just 0.125, and you add it to 0.375, you're going to have 0.5, which is half an inch. Okay, so all we're going to do now is 0.5 plus 0.125. Okay, and that is going to give us 0.675, which is equivalent to 5/8, and this is equivalent to 3/8. All right, so the next one we have 0.75. Add 0.75 to 0.125, and we're going to be having 0.875 rather. All right, 0.875. Add 0.875 to 0.125, we're going to have 1 inch. Okay, so what this means is that when you're taking measurements, you folded your fabric into 4 and you want to approximate. You have your measuring stops at one line here. We have 0.125, and you say, oh, 0.125 is too small. When you do not want an ease, let's say you're making a corset and you do not want an ease. Once this is folded into 4 and you have 0.125, automatically what you're doing is 0.125 times 4. So what is it going to give us? We already have 0.5. So in your measurements, you've added 0.5 or half an inch to it. So whereby you do not want any form of ease, you already have ease of half an inch. I hope this is clear. So before you approximate, make sure you know exactly what you are calculating. Now going over to the metrics, all we have to do is, assuming we need 3 inches and we want to get it in metrics, all we have to do is to fold over at that exact 3 inches, and wherever it falls at the centimeter, that is where we have the number. So 3 inches falls on 8 centimeter. You can see that these lines here are quite smaller than the inches, and they are more accurate than this. But with the measurements that we have, the fractions that we have here, you can get an accurate measurement. Now, when you have the lines that are 16 in number, it means that 0.125 is further divided into 2, okay? And 0.25 is not just divided into 2, but divided into 4. All right, so when you divide this into 2, you get this. This also is further divided to get a lower number. But with the centimeter, you can also get as much as more accurate measurements. And you have 0.125, and you understand that when you multiply it into 4, you have half an inch or 0.5. We'll be able to know how to go about your measurements. So like I said here, whatever we have in between this one can be replicated in other lines. The difference is that 1 inch, we have moved it to 2 inches. Now, when you have more than 1 inch, this numbers here remains the same wherever they are found, remains the same. What changes is the 1. Okay, so when you have more than 1 inch, you can have 1.5 inches, that is 1.05. We already know why the 0.5 is. 1/4, we already know where our 1/4 is. 1.125, in this case it's no longer 0 points. It was 0 point because it is less than 1. Now it is more than 1, we go by the number 1 point. If it is more than 2, we go by the number 2 points. Okay, down to whatever number we're working with: 10 points, 30 points, 64 points, 58 points, whatever number you have. What changes is the whole number, but the lines in between does not change. I hope this makes sense to you. So whenever you're taking your measurements, you make sure it is accurate and you do not approximate, except you want to add an ease, so as to make sure that your measurements are accurate and your garments will come out accurate. So like and share this video, subscribe if you've not, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.